Here.
Steve Bishop.
Here.
Jim Boothby.
Here.
Joe DeBonzo.
Here.
Larry Wall.
Here.
Dick Peterson.
Here.
Jim Morrison, Ron Russell, and John Paul Lalonde are absent.
Item 2 are to approve minutes. We can take them as a whole, can't we, Rich?
If that's what you like.
Yep. The minutes from February 2023, June 2022, March 2021, and September through December of 2019. Any comments or questions? Jim?
Move them as a block.
Okay.
Second. I think that was a second over there, if I heard correctly.
Okay. We have a motion and a second.
If you're wondering why that is, we're going to a new website, and it was brought to my attention that some of these were never put on the old website or the new website, so to confirm they've been approved, I put them on this agenda.
Okay. All right. With a motion and a second, all in favor? Okay, motion passes. Item 3 are recommendations for community organizations funding requests. We're going to skip down to item 5 and call Paul McKee real quick.
Hello.
Hi, Paul. It's Mark Eastman. How are you?
Hi. How are you?
I'm well. I'm well. So
Good.
we're calling. We put you to the top of the list for your request of $4,000 for your summer event programs for Wednesday
Yes.
on Main.
Correct.
And I just wanted to open it up to the public for any questions.
Okay.
I don't think we have any, Paula. Anybody
Okay.
on the committee have any questions? No? Do you want to go ahead and explain what the plan is for this summer, Paula?
Sure. I have 5 events scheduled, and the second 2 are going to be my most expensive ones, and they're going to be at the Alamo. I don't know if you all want the detail. I've included the program with my application. So we're doing 5 events, and I am still actively looking for sponsors. I could use another couple of sponsors, but I think because we had a balance going forward from the town that we didn't use last year, we're okay to get started, but in order to complete the program the way I have it set up, the funding will be necessary from the town. We may not use it all as in the past, so that's sort of where we are.
Okay. I'll again see if there's any questions from anyone.
Okay.
And do we want to vote on these individually? Is that how?
If we could for Paula, she's, the reason why I moved to the trailer, she needs to be
Yeah.
somewhere.
Okay. Without any questions, we need a recommendation from the committee for funding.
I have a question,
Sure, go
if I can.
This is Joe DeVanzo asking a question, Paula.
Oh, hi, Joe. Yes?
Hi, how you doing, Paul?
Good.
I'm not against Buckport Price Celebration having a parade.
No, this
No.
is
No, no,
Wednesdays on
this
Main.
is
Paula.
What?
number 5.
Oh, that it was
No.
We just jumped down to number 5.
Oh, okay.
We're doing
Then
5
never
first.
mind. Then
No.
No
I
question.
withdrew.
No question there.
Awesome.
All right.
Good. Okay. Wonderful.
I'll make that recommendation.
Here we have
Second.
A motion and a second to a recommendation for Wednesdays on Main, the funding for Wednesdays on Main. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Thanks, Paula.
Oh, good. Thank you all so very much. We'll see you soon.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, going back to the first item is the Health Equity Alliance, $1,500 for the Bucksport Pride celebration. Derek?
Hello, everybody. Want to thank you guys for the funding we received last year. Looking forward to getting that this year. It's always kind of confusing, but we're looking forward to putting that money to use. Last year was a very successful year, our second year, and honestly, we just hope to continue a simple, smaller size festival on the waterfront and pair that with some events throughout the month of June. All with the same mission of just elevating voices in the community and just finding a way to move forward with creativity, compassion, and love. And look forward to answering any questions that you guys may have. Yes.
So my first question is, what hat are you wearing? Because Main Street, I have a question on Main Street to deal with this program.
Main Street's not connected to this program.
I understand that.
So,
But my question to you is, because you represent Main Street,
Mhm.
how many businesses have you talked to about this event?
I'm going to keep the Main Street Bucksport hat off and speak to you as one of the lead organizers of Bucksport Pride.
But I really think I really would appreciate to understand, because it's the same question, whether you want to be Main Street or whether you want to be Pride. I still want to understand because last year there was no feedback, and I'd like to hear feedback on this. So-
Yeah, well, so I'd say that the feedback that I received was very direct. We had Pet Provisions down on the waterfront as one of our vendors. We reached out to as many businesses as possible. We had Sweet Cheeks Bakery on Verona selling our pins for us, which was one of our major fundraising mechanisms. And, you know, it's always a challenge to get people up to Main Street when the festival's downtown. So to combat that, we did have a showing of a documentary at the Alamo to help support them. And the amount of people, I don't know about you guys, but when someone goes to the Alamo for the first time, they always leave saying, wow, the Alamo, this is here, I'm gonna go again. So I'd say that's probably the most feedback that we did get. And I can't say I had any negative feedback from businesses.
Well, that's important, no negative. Of course, I like the enthusiasm you bring to Main Street, so
Yeah.
I want to make sure that's very clear. It's not a negative.
Yeah,
It was
of
more of a
course.
positive
Mhm.
that I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
And the Friars have complained in the past on events
Mhm.
that people park in front of their
Oh.
place.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I talked to them, I have not
Mhm.
this year on it.
Yeah.
But it's important to understand how it impacts the local businesses.
Oh, yeah, no, of course, just like any event, you know,
Exactly.
and hey, the public parking, that's a hard situation. I won't get into that, though.
Okay, thank you.
So for this scenario, the town funding portion, you're asking for 1,500,
Yes.
and that's pretty much the equivalent of the music for the musicians.
Yeah, you know, honestly, that costs more for us. The $1,500 typically does cost more.
Okay.
The budget that I put together is educated guesses, estimates for you folks.
Okay.
This year, we do hope to gain some more sponsors. Last year, we picked up a couple, such as Bangor Savings Bank, and we had Darling's ice cream truck for a cause there. So we're starting to gain traction with sponsorship, which is something we didn't really look too deep into the first year that we did it. So that $1,500 will help us get to where we want to be with music, but we want to grow that. That was one of the major draws. Last year we had an artist from Portland in particular who had just come off of a nationwide tour and some dates in Europe as well. Their career has only skyrocketed since then, so we may not be able to get them back, but we really do want to find some serious contenders for music to get people from out of town to come and experience Bucksport.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Jim.
Based on this then, since I don't really know if you're saying you want people from out of town to come and experience Bucksport as opposed to your own agenda, let's say. I'm not against a Bucksport Pride and celebrations. I want to say that off the bat. I couldn't care. But I am, Methodist Church did a breakfast this morning. They're running low on funds. We do a fish front, running low on funds with the prices of food and everything. It's wonderful. We are a community organization. Can we apply for funds? Based on this, we meet the same criteria. I don't want to say, oh, it can't, it's a religious group. It has nothing to do with it. It's a group, a civic group who are providing a need for the community for basic meals for people who can't really go out and afford, let's say, a big meal or whatever. So if we're going to be providing something for a person, I've never been to an event where Bucksport Pride was not invited. Has anybody thrown you out of any event? That's want to know. That would be offensive to me.
I mean, I'm not sure what that has to do with the question.
Well, the
at
question would be
hand,
that
but,
why would
you
it have
know,
to be funded if it's a personal item? If
it doesn't
It's
have
an
to be
event.
funded,
It's an
sir,
event.
but it's
It's
an
an
event.
so, then can the breakfast at the Methodist Church and can the
I
fish
don't
fries
know.
apply for? They are events and they are for the community, for the benefit of the community, not for.
That's something that you have
Catholic
to
Church?
apply for before it gets to this agenda for this meeting.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly
No,
can talk to the town manager, Joe, and determine, I don't have an answer for
So
you. I don't know.
they may be.
There's pretty good sort of rules that Sue and the council worked up a few years ago to, you know, how to apply and sort of who would apply to. I think back then, if I remember, it was broken into two parts, sort of a service part and more of a public gathering to promote the town part, if I remember right. Is that right, Mark? I don't know if we're still doing that, but originally that.
It's community agencies and service agencies, so what I believe Joe would be referring to on that might be under services, where we do the food shelter and things
Right.
like that.
Right.
Health Equity Alliance has gotten funding in the past from the town of Bucksport for other
So
methods,
then,
and the last 2 years.
I
they
will be able to
decided
get any information that I need
Sure.
for
Yes.
the Methodist Breakfast for the community, since it is a community organization funding request, and for the fish fries for the community. Now, I don't need it now, but I can get that, so I can go over it.
Yes.
All right, so when that isolating, when that's picking one organization against another, it's a set reason why a organization is accepted to get community funding.
Say that again?
I understood.
You understood what I said?
Yeah.
Then you agree with that?
No, I'm saying that,
Then, okay.
the program that they're talking about, you need to apply
Right,
for.
Mr.
Okay.
Devonta, may I ask you a question?
Yeah,
Do you need any information from me that would make you maybe feel any,
No,
I'm
it's
I'm
not-
hearing some
it has
uncertainty in
nothing
your
to do
voice.
with you.
Okay.
Okay,
okay.
that's
It
good.
has nothing to do with you.
I do have another question.
Of course,
Because I
yes.
heard you say that Bangor
Mhm.
Savings
Yeah.
helped. Now, last year when I asked, we didn't have any sponsors.
Oh, we
But
did.
now, because that was bothering me last year, as you know,
Yeah.
okay? Because I feel we need to go out and knock on doors.
100%, yeah.
But you now have Darling and you have Bangor.
I got on the phone last year and just started asking people, and it was fun. It was
Yep.
great, the amount of support that we
No, I think
received
that's,
from all
I
over
think
the
that's
place, and-
excellent. I think
yeah.
that
Yep.
alleviates my thoughts on, okay, I'm not comfortable because you weren't reaching out. Now you're
Yeah.
saying you're reaching out. I think as
Exactly.
more you can get the business community involved,
Mhm.
the better everything will be.
100%. The first year was planned extremely quickly. So we did have some sponsors, but none of that level. And the second year, I think you had mentioned it in a meeting, as you said, and it was something we had planned on doing anyways. So we went for it, and we're going to continue doing that. And I'll just leave, if there's no other questions, just it was a great event. It was a positive event, and whatever you folks think is appropriate, we would appreciate some help.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Thanks,
will
Dick.
say,
Thank you.
Dick, that I have a business on Central Street.
Yes.
And I did make a donation. I don't know if it counts as a
Well,
sponsor.
$1
but-
counts towards it.
No, it was, I think it was $250.
Good. I think it's excellent.
Which I donate through the business and personally for many things, so.
Yes. No, it's always good.
Including Main Street.
And just to be clear, where the funding comes from, it is 1% of the value of the tax commitment from the prior year. So the comment that was made is that pit one group after, there's a pot of money that the town council decides. And if this committee decided for any one of these to, say, recommend everything or recommend none, the final tally comes from the town council. These are
Exactly.
simply
Right.
recommendations, and the council can either choose to accept or ignore them.
Exactly.
Any more comments on the Health Equity Alliance request of $1,500 for the Pride celebration? From the committee or the public? All right. How would you like to move on this request?
I'd make a motion that we go forward with 1,500 like we did for this year.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Opposed?
I didn't know I was gonna do that, but you got me.
Jim, do you want to come up here? There's another seat here.
That's it.
That's right. Okay, item
Good.
2 under this is Friends of Fort Knox, the $4,000 request for lighting of the fort. Hi, Dean.
Good evening, hi, how are you? Good to see you. Been over there up till just now and still working hard for it. Getting ready for our season. The lighting that we're talking about first is gonna be two things for Friends of Fort Knox, starting off with lighting. I took over and we have done lighting, we requested funds year over year. That lighting includes bridge lighting. It was $500, it's now $1,000 that we give to the DOT for operation of that bridge. 500 of which would come from this. Friends is contributing 50-50, trying to do our share, right?
You're giving money to DOT.
We have to, yeah, for operations and stuff like that. So DOT pays us management, but they also, we collect fees for them on their behalf, and then we give them money. There's a lot of this back and forth. We do, because they started reimbursing me, I changed the contract, it's a longer story, but I changed the contract, and part of that was, instead of the flat rate that they were doing, they reimbursed me on things that, like tree cutting, sweeping the parking lot, mowing lawns, all that stuff that they used to say, sorry, that's assumed in the contract. So part of that was an agreement back and forth that, hey, it's a lot more expensive than $500 to run that bridge, and I get it. They're going to move to LED lighting. That's their project, and it should go down. The price should go down, but the electric has gone up recently. It costs about $150 to operate the fort. You see those two lights that bask. There used to be 28 lights that also bask the front of the fort, the facade. 2 years ago, I asked you guys for some money so that we could get a grant to get new lights put in because of the metal halide. Those lights are failing badly. There's only 2 that are still in operation. I asked for a quote as COVID years, and I couldn't even get a good contractor to come out. He didn't give me a quote until the end of the season, and he said $160,000 to replace all those lights. Schipul wants in-ground lighting, low profile. I can't do that. That's why it's failing, is because it saturates the ground, and it's just going to waste everybody's money. What I'm looking to do is do it not necessarily on the cheap. It's going to be about $60,000. Friends of Fort Knox is going to be seeking grants. This is kind of seed money, what I'm asking for right now, and last year's monies. And it's going to, on a grant application, I say there's matching dollars. That's what this is about. It's not going to cover the entirety of it. It's at least going to be $65,000, half as much, less than half as much what this guy told me. We're going to do above ground lamps, LED as well, if the town manager says that's what she wants. We're kind of in this situation right now where people have said, why do you guys even have lights on anyway? It's blinding, right? The fort is lit. The bridge is one thing, the fort's another. We have 2 metal halide that splash up on the enrockment, and then we have 28 lamps that go around the fort facade. I'm looking to replace those 28 lamps with half as many that are going to project from further away. They're going to be LED. They'll be above ground bars. I'll remove those lamps in the winter time, put them aside for next year. It keeps the light bulb life longer and stuff. Who are we doing it for? The original contract agreement, I guess, as I understand it, and you guys can school me on this, was with the town of Bucksport, because the town of Bucksport wants lights on from May 1st through October 31st, and then 2 weeks in December. And that's where the bridge lighting comes into play, is that DOT, that's where this $500 that was the original request that we've done year over year, that goes to the DOT to pay for the lights on the bridge to be on from 1 May through October 31st, plus 2 weeks in December. Where that agreement is, and I can't tell if it's just verbal or what, I don't know anymore. And now we go to talk about the fort. That's a whole separate matter. What does the town of Bucksport want? Do you want the lights to go off at midnight during tour season, at noon? I'm sorry, noon, 10 o'clock? 10 o'clock. Not noon, no. Well, we don't leave them on all day. But why do you even have them on? You're wasting money. And we don't want them on outside of October 31st because the tourists have gone home. Do you even want them on October 1st through the 31st? And so that's where I'm talking with the town manager and finding out. I have an appointment to try to get more information. She's got to do some research. What does the town of Bucksport want? The facade lighting around the fort, the splash lighting on the enrockment, and then the bridge lighting. And when we have those numbers of what the desire is, then I owe you what the cost might be associated with that. So this $4,000, that's a long way to go to say, I'm not sure that I even need the $4,000 because that $4,000 is supposed to be paying for this grant to get those metal halide 28 lamps replaced with LEDs if the town of Bucksport would still like to have Fort Knox lit. If we're done with that, I'll rip them out of the ground, I'll leave it dark, I'll only have the two down by the embankment, and the price will go way down, the cost will go way down. I won't end up using the entirety towards a
Yeah,
project. So
I'm not familiar with who wanted that. Is anybody here?
it's actually Leon, when he was on the, he was both the director and he was on the Chamber of
Okay.
Commerce. There was some agreements that went this way, they had a lot of money, Friends of Fort Knox had a lot of money, and they put those in for the first time. And some of that was because people in the town of Bucksport wanted it to be displayed at night. People coming back from Acadia drive by and they see an attractive thing across the way there, is what I understood
Okay.
the sell was. The bridge is different, the bridge is beautiful, and that's gonna be necklace lights. I'm gonna tell you, that is gonna be a huge project, it's gonna happen this year and into next, and all those necklace lights will be back up again, LED, and your cost is $500 towards.
Question on the
The
LED lights.
Yeah.
Will we be able to have them so they're color as well? Because, you know, a lot of places try to colorize their bridges now for
Right.
special occasions.
He said, if I remember the conversation, he said yes. It's not as all through the wavelengths like, sorry, trying to think of breast cancer awareness, pink, let's go pink. He said something like that, that's possible. Those are also filters. They're not looking for that. They're gonna try to do a soft yellow LED that's gonna look just like it does now. Just simple white lights. Ours, we could do, that's what the guy proposed. He gave me these projector lights. They were probably about $8,000 to $10,000 a piece. There's just a band like this, and it sits about 2 feet off the ground. And these would do colors, and you could do it sequenced, and so you could do, like our light show over here, the holiday, Christmas.
Yep.
Yeah, parade of lights.
Yep.
Parade of lights. That's what this one could do potentially, but that's $160,000. Again, I'm not looking for, I would like the ability to splash different colors, but you can do lenses, you don't have to do this programmable light and stuff. So I'm gonna bring it down in the 65 range, and we're probably gonna do it ourselves. So that you know, it's digging a new trench, putting new wire down, you can't do it up against a Ford. So it's all that wire that goes in, plus the lamps, and the problem now is each light bulb and each ballast costs $100, that's $200. And you can't tell whether the bulb burnt out or the ballast burnt out, so you gotta change them both. And once you crack the seal, now you've compromised the entire thing, so that's why there's 28 lamps not working over there.
Sure.
It's because it makes no sense to keep throwing bad money after bad.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I like the idea of the bridge lit and the fort lit, but narrow it down for me exactly what this $4,000 would do.
Right, so 500 goes to the DOT.
Okay.
250, during the normal season, it's 150 for our electric cost to have lights splashing up. It's 250 during the 6 months. So 6 times 250
Yeah.
is, you're funding the entirety of our electric bill to have lights on those 6 months.
Okay.
And just forget about the 2 weeks, let's not even talk about December, right?
Yeah.
So 250, that's $1,500 right there. What I'm trying to do is obtain funds so I can get a grant towards the $65,000 expense that the town of Bucksport and the Friends of Fort Knox are also contributing, because Fisher, Libra, I've already done some of these, and the request is out there, but they're not gonna fund it by themselves, and not in its entirety, especially if you don't do a 50-50 match.
Right.
Right, so that's what I'm asking from the town of Bucksport. I think I have $3,000 from last year that is waiting for this project. It's actually this year, sorry, I say this wrong, this is for 2024, correct?
Yes.
So I have last year's funds that I came and asked you guys for $4,000, and 3,000 of that is sitting aside,
Okay.
waiting to kick this project off. Because I have to find the right person that can do it. I'm telling you $65,000. That's again because the other guy said $160,000 with all this above ground crap. And I just can't do that.
Right.
I'm targeting 65,000 with the LEDs. The lamps that I'm looking at are $1,000 a piece. I'm gonna do half as many. There's 20 lamps. It's $20,000 just in lamps. And it's $20,000, whatever the cost of materials are, it's at least that in labor, so that's $40,000.
What's your grant deadline?
It can be next year. It can be a year. Part of the problem is I've got to do everything under historic preservation. SHPO, State Historic Preservation Office, has to approve the project for Department of Agriculture, Conservation, Forestry, Bureau of Parks and Lands. These are my parents that I got to talk to, plus you guys and my board to get all this stuff laid out, and then the project has to happen, break ground, it has to happen in a certain period of time.
Yeah.
I've gotta find a guy that can do the work.
What is your goal for a timeline for us to see the results of that money?
This, if I get this, based on what I have already, I have enough money in the capital improvement fund that I could probably knock it out this year.
Okay.
The challenge is finding that contractor that's available.
Gotcha.
That's gonna do the work. I've got approval through the state to do this project.
Yep.
I don't have anyone lined up. Anything over $10,000, you have to go to put to bid.
Yep.
Between 10 and 100,000.
Okay.
And so that process is what's gonna hold me up. The state moves at the speed of the state.
Right,
And so my goal is this year,
okay.
if the things click into place, I can get the state to approve, I've got the funds. I'm not really even worried about the funds one way or another. This one that we're doing today is $500 plus the electric cost, to help also offset this project of $65,000. Your contribution would be, that works out to be $6,000 towards the 10%.
Yep. Any other questions? Joe, do you have a question?
I always have questions, you know,
Sure.
some of them may seem stupid, but it helps me become not stupid.
Right.
You mentioned lighting on the bridge. The bridge is owned by whom and operated by whom, though?
DOT, they operate it, I have nothing to do with that. I can tell them, hey, the lights are out, in fact, you guys get complaints over there all the time, and
So it is up to the state to make sure that the bridge is lit then?
that's correct, per this agreement, and they're the ones that told me about this agreement, that there was, they were only gonna light it from June through Labor Day. You're nodding, you seem to know what I'm talking about.
I've heard that before.
Okay, and then we all, Friends of Fort Knox and the Bucksport town said, let's get these on either side.
So they want it lit for the tourists, but they don't figure if you live here, you should know there's a bridge there. You should be able to know where you're going and
Still
not
looks
live.
nice when it's lit.
Yeah, it's nice, it's great.
Not
So
in my house.
Prospect
Fine,
doesn't,
it does.
does Prospect give any,
Not at
nothing?
all. No. Prospect.
And Fort Knox is owned by whom, though?
Fort Knox is a state park, it's the people of Maine.
State park.
I like telling people, it's not even a state park, Maine State Park, it is, but it's the people of Maine's park. The reason why Friends of Fort Knox did this 30 years ago was the fort was falling in on itself, right? $4 million later, the Friends of Fort Knox raises $1.3 million, and the people of Maine did a referendum for $3 million. In 1992, Friends of Fort Knox incorporates, becomes a 501c3, raises $4.3 million through the bottle drive, the 8 through 80-year-olds, raising money. It wasn't just the bottle drive. They raised funds from all around, and George McLeod is one of those big members that is the reason why that fort is in the
A lot
shape
of
it is today.
in-kind donation too.
And donation.
So
I don't-
let's say
Yep.
you wanted to, it's only not a suggestion, this is the question. You wanted to light up the fort for this whole period. So in order to bring down costs, it could be lit only on weekends, as if you wanted to.
It could.
I'm just asking, it could be
We have a timer.
altered around.
We don't have, there's the different types, it's a little bit more expensive to do. We just have that dial timer right now, and we set when sunset is and sunrise is, and it goes for that period of time, whenever sunset is until sunrise. Well, that's stupid, why you're lighting at 2 in the morning? I don't know, that's what we always did. So now I'm starting to get smarter about this, oh my goodness, what do you guys want? Why is the fort still lit at midnight on November 7th? I don't know, cause that's what we always did.
And you've got a meeting to talk to Sue about that?
I do. We're
Yeah.
gonna hammer out what exactly Bucksport is looking for, and then I go back to the state and I say, shut off the bridge. I control the fort, but the bridge, if the bridge is desired to not be lit after normal transit hours, people have gone home from work. They live here. There's no tourists, right, in the off-season. Why are we lighting this bridge?
So you do, if it's on a time during the summer months when it's light out till 9 o'clock, you have the timer set so it doesn't go on. It could go on from 9 to 11 only.
We could do that, but we've been doing it 9 till sunrise. 9 p.m. sunsets as late as, and we've been doing sunset to sunrise all the time, and I've stopped that these last 2 years. I've kinda, if you see, it's not
Yes,
lit.
it's an awful lot.
It is. So, and then the LEDs will cut that in half. We did the LEDs, so that you know, I have to tell you exactly how your monies are spent. It's restricted monies. I can't spend it in any other way. Some of the monies, because this was for a lighting project, I actually used that money, I'm keeping it over here, I'm saying $3,000 still sits here. I actually used it to reset all the lamps and the bathrooms and the visitor center. that's a benefit to me, it's not really a benefit to the town of Bucksport, so that's why I don't see it but it was part of the same lighting project to revamp all the lights into LEDs. I only got 1/10 of the way through it with what is the visitor center and the bathrooms, but my bills got cut in half from just that period of time, and I went through efficiency main, which is not good.
Any other comments?
I'd make a motion to approve.
Yeah.
Second.
All right, any public comments?
I just wanna say, on the bridge, I think there's a little gremlin over there that's in charge of that switch.
It's sometimes on, sometimes not, yeah.
Just saying.
Larry needs to take his pictures, we've been approving.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Opposed? Okay. Item 3 on this would be Friends of Fort Knox, the $5,000 firework request.
So where does 5,000 come from? I was asked in 2020, Chamber's starting to go away, and I was asked if I could help facilitate. And 5,000 will get you a 20-minute show with 4-inch rockets. There's 3, 4, and 5-inch rockets. A 3-inch rocket goes 300 feet, 4-inch rocket goes 400 feet, and a 5-inch rocket goes 500 feet. And the burst is wider on each of those, right? But they cost more. Every time you buy a bigger rocket, you're getting less of a show. Bigger bang, right? The last 2 years have been $5,000 shows, if you liked those, and the one at the Christmas time. That's the 20-minute Central Maine Pyro fireworks show. I don't even touch this money. I don't want anything to do with this money. When I ask for $5,000, the check is written and given to Central Maine Pyro, but I do all the permitting, permissions, all that stuff, and I facilitate the guy getting down on the docks. Department of Agriculture, Conservation, Forestry said, wait a minute, you guys aren't supposed to be firing fireworks, this is 2020, do you guys remember me telling me about that? He said, I canceled all fireworks in all state parks, you should not have been doing this. I said, we've been doing this he said 7 years ago I did that. I said, I don't know where you've been, but we've asked for a permit every year, I can show you this, and you guys have approved it, so the town of Bucksport's gonna be really upset, and that was enough pressure that he caved, and now we are the only state park that has fireworks displays. The alternative is the Verona Island docks. We'll never fire from A battery, we tried that before next to the bridge, and it lit the place on fire, and that's what he's really remembering, is he's upset that that might happen again. So B battery, I facilitate that. I've already been in touch with Ian Marston, and he's already set the date. The date is it centers around what used to be Bucksport Bay Festival, used to occur simultaneously with our Civil War days. We're looking to have that hopefully come back the same weekend. It's gonna be the 22nd of July. So on the 21st through the 23rd, we have our Civil War days. On the 22nd, we make no money after hours, just so you guys know. I love telling people this too. Friends of Fort Knox does not benefit by holding a fireworks show here. I have to stay over there. I've thrown drunk people out. I have to close the entire fort. I have to get them off the walls. I don't get to watch the thing. It's really a pain in my butt, but I know that it's very good for the community, and it's such a great show. If you get to, by invite only, come over there and watch, you'll be looking at eye level from the fort, and that's what the Civil War guys are looking to do this year.
So this lines up with the Bay Festival?
This is the date of the Bay Festival, yes.
And how have the Bay Festival fireworks been funded in the past, Rich? Same?
Through the Chamber of Commerce. So the Chamber of Commerce got $5,000 to do fireworks and then $20,000 to do Bay Festival.
Except for when I did it.
Except for when Terry did it.
Yeah.
What it cost the town then?
Pardon me?
Didn't it cost the town anything then?
No.
So she did it under Bucksport Bay Business Coalition.
That's right.
Yes.
So the 5,000 we spent at Christmas time last year.
Was those fireworks.
Okay.
That was the money that I had requested if the Bucksport Bay Chamber had been around, and it would have been fired on the 4th, or not the 4th, I'm sorry, on the Bay Festival. Whenever the Bay Festival is normally held, I'm sorry, didn't see you there.
Right.
Yeah.
It's surprising, even in wintertime, how many people showed up for the fireworks.
That was impressive.
Yeah, and to hear them afterwards, I'm going, don't you know it's cold outside?
Right. That was,
But
actually, that's
it
the
was
first
a big event.
I didn't have to throw anybody off the fort, for the fort.
Thank God.
Yeah, because they were too freaking cold.
We had a s'mores bar though, it kept everybody warm, right?
That's right. What's the pleasure of the committee with the 5,000 request for fireworks?
make a motion that we
Yeah.
approve the fireworks?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Just to be clear again, the cost of fireworks has gone up. Ian has said last year's, or the one that you saw, that's what you'll get again, that same time frame of 20 minutes and the same size rockets. That's what you're gonna buy. It's probably gonna go up in the future if you guys would like it longer, and I don't recommend going longer, or if you'd like a bigger show. It's gonna cost a little bit more, but so that I'm throwing the 5,000 on the table, but if you guys had concerns about the length of the show could save some money, there's the alternatives, or if you like it as is, that's what I guess I'm trying to.
I think as is the way we go
You
Yeah.
say, Rich?
at this point.
As this works.
Okay.
The one time we went longer than 4 o'clock on fire.
And it gets boring, actually.
If it's the
That's
same
my
show
concern,
for the
is those
same
two
money,
all-
that's a deal these
Yeah.
days.
Yeah.
So we have a motion from Dick. Do we have a second?
Second?
Second from Ron. All in favor? Opposed?
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Dick. Item 4, Main Street Bucksport, a $20,000 request for operating expenses.
It's the second time. I have one more. So, again, thank you for being here. We are coming to you with our annual ask, and I'm here to answer questions. I think most of you know what Main Street Bucksport's all about. I'll specifically highlight that we are finding ourselves in a unique position right now with the chamber no longer being in town, and with everyone trying to get this economy to get back up and business to be happening on Main Street. We have started to pay close attention to the businesses downtown. We were forgetting the neighborhood champion is what they call it, of Small Business Saturday this year. Heavily involved in that and saw really good results from that. We're doing monthly coffee hours right now with business owners to try to get business owners to connect with each other and just share information about Main Street and just keep those communication lines open. Additionally, just sticking with our main mission to strengthen Main Street and just continue to build it up with events and programming. And specifically this year, we're looking to bring back the Bridge the Gap, which is also on the agenda, I saw. Not only my permit request, but Crow Athletics. And also the Arts Festival in August. We're nailing down a date currently. The International Maritime Film Festival, which will be held in September. And a slew of other pop-up events. And if there's ever any inspiration to do anything else, we'll consider it. Also, we're really looking forward to continuing with the PPI process. John Paul, one of the board members, is on the committee for that. And our beautification committee is going to be taking an active role in a canopy grant that we were awarded to look at tree growth in town and what we can do better to make town literally more green. And if there's any questions, let me know, but we'd appreciate your support again. It's 1/3 of our budget and huge help.
So Rich, you'll have to help me out. We had a meeting a couple months ago from the DOT and all that on changing and trying to put power underground is one of the suggestions. What was that group called?
That's the PPI.
The PPI, okay, I couldn't remember the PPI. I was there,
Yes.
but I couldn't remember it. Okay, and of course, by doing that, we can kind of do what other communities done, which they put the trees in, and then when they get too big, they move them and they're out and bring more trees in. Meanwhile, your power is all underground. Is this something that Main Street, your group, is pushing for?
At this point, the way that I'm looking at the process is we're allowing the process to occur.
Yeah.
With PPI, they're taking a look at what the community wants, what the community needs, what professionals advise us to do. And before we can go and just start planting trees wherever we think we can, we need to hear from them. And that is one of the things. Will we have the power underground in a few years? Will the road be widened?
Will we have sidewalks
paved.
going up?
Exactly,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, this is all part of the
Yeah,
program.
so, at this point, the canopy grant that we, have, the funds need to be spent this year, so unfortunately, we won't see a slew of beautiful trees growing on Main Street from the canopy grant that we were awarded from the state. But that is all part of the process of the beautification committee and where we want to see Main Street headed. So strong supporters of that notion, and as we continue and we see the results from PPI, we're going to be paying a close eye on what those are, getting community feedback, and as an organization deciding how we would like to influence the town and which direction we should go.
Can you now give me the length of Main Street?
I can't. It's got to be what, like?
Well, no, I'm saying because we obviously start down here somewhere, the House of Pizza or whatever.
Yeah.
Get past that probably, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
And then do we go past the bridge?
Oh, are we just talking like how we feel? Okay,
Yes,
yeah.
in other words,
yeah.
what I'm trying to do is
Yeah.
a lot of times on the Main Street, when I was involved years ago, I'm
Yeah.
looking into it.
Yeah.
You know, they tried to get the growth on this part of Main Street.
Yeah.
I think you're trying to go for a larger portion.
I might be breaking some rules. I don't know.
Well,
'cause-
no, I don't think you're breaking any rules.
No, I'm playing. No, because you mentioned your past with Main Street involvement in towns that you've lived in, and yeah, often there is a narrow scope where the concept is if Main Street is doing well, physical, literal Main Street, that is just going to grow and expand. And I'm a firm believer in that. I think we all know that's true, but I'm breaking the rules a little bit. I was out in the industrial park in February doing a Business Connect coffee hour / grand opening with Bucksport Works, the new co-working space out there. And our eyes aren't set solely on Main Street, but our focus is. We're
Good.
open.
Good, thank you.
I've got several questions. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yes.
You said it was 1/3 of your budget. What's your total operating budget?
I can.
You're asking us for 1/3.
Yes.
And it looked like the proposal you gave us, your total operating budget was 45,000 in total expenses, and you're asking us for 20,000.
Yeah, so what I should say is 1/3 is a goal. I should correct that, thank you. Typically, we're trying to operate at more than that budgeted amount right now. And typically, our budgeting model to try to put us in a successful area financially is 1/3 town funding, 1/3 donations and funds received from events, and the other third grants. So I am wrong in the third amount. I should get my calculator out and adjust that now, but yeah, thank you for pointing that out.
So, but this proposal you gave us has you finishing, is it correct? Has you upside down by $1,245?
Yeah, so that's where we have some work to do. And we have that amount underneath. Just because that's the reality, unfortunately. The organization, we're trying to get back to the events. We're not seeing as much attendance as we used to see. So that gap is something that I need to fill with sponsorships and other ways that come about. Right now we are working on a sponsorship program with community businesses, trying to get annual sponsorships for the Main Street program, and just to help fund our programs and things. And yeah, so that is a realistic look. We definitely don't plan to be in the red though. We're hoping that we'll see a boost in some of the profit mentioned in those events there.
And they were running higher pre-pandemic, weren't they, Derek? Just-
They were.
It was the nature of
Exactly.
what the world was.
Yeah,
I'll give you a little history. Derek wasn't there, but David was too. But Main Street was moving along sort of progressively. It really wasn't that old when I got there. It sort of was a volunteer organization. Then it became, it followed kind of the path of the Main Street America program, because it is an affiliate program. And essentially they, part of the program originally is to go through economic development in the town, and if you get to the next step in the Main Street program, it requires that you have funding from the town. We're in the middle, so to speak, we're what's called an affiliate program. It's all throughout the country. And so at first it was volunteer, then got a part-time executive director with support from the town, and it sought grants and had events, and it was moving along. I think the last budget before COVID exceeded 60,000. I think it was more like 70.
Thank you, that's what the number I was looking for, because that's
Right.
where that 1/3
But then
dollar
during
comes from.
COVID, we did get a, what were they called,
Oh,
PPP, or,
Yeah, patient-
what, just to keep, as many nonprofits did, to keep it going, because, part of what we did were events where there were no events. And there were grants kind of slowed at the same pace because many of the grant places were in the same boat. They're nonprofit organizations. So, and then in the middle of it all, we had an ED change and then another ED change. So I would say that really 2022 was the first year that, if you remember correctly, we came back to the town just because, it was hard to get going again, and the town did support us with another 5,000. So we felt, and we're just about back there, but the Canopy grant and we had an innovation grant are sort of typical of the legacy of those 2-3 years, really, because it was a carryover year of not running smoothly. So the Canopy grant was somewhat, from its original vision, had to change because the town, through really Meg, came upon what's called the VPI, which is the Village Partnership Initiative, which is the really big money. And the way you start that is with the PPI grant, which is in the process now. But that kind of put the original plan of the Canopy grant had to reconfigure, because you're not gonna put trees in and then tear them right back out. So, and it was sort of a similar fate to the innovation grant, was built around a woman that came here and worked with Mary, and then the circumstances changed, and Derek's made a nice pivot on that, so that's ongoing. And the same thing happened with the Museum in the Streets, which, thanks to David, this is a national guy. It's put these up all over the place. We had a grant for that really we sort of pushed forward for the Historical Society, but it had problems because of COVID, because the guy kind of literally left the country. But it's back, the signs are here, the signs will go up this spring, and that'll be completed. So you could almost, that money came in before, but its final application is happening now. So it's not, the full amount is in the budget, but the full work is gonna happen now. So I would, my read is that Derek's come in, he was an interim director, he's taken on the part-time, normal executive director. And I think that the events we held on to are still going, and I think you'll see some more initiative. And the most promising thing is there's new sort of blood coming into the board, and I'm happy to say that many of them are not relic dinosaurs like myself and David and John Paul. And so I think there'll be some renewed energy and effort, and it looks promising. It's sort of the same story of Main Street, if you want to go talk to some of the businesses.
How often does the board meet?
Board meets monthly.
Monthly?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
Is that, go ahead.
the executive committee also meets monthly, which is sort of helps Derek. And
Okay.
so it's been tumultuous. I mean, really, the last 3 years have been, and again, has a part-time executive director and, you know, a volunteer board and volunteers, it's.
I
Larry
just-
can tell you about volunteer organizations too.
I just question the
Back us-
financials of this based on what we're presented with, giving $20,000, which is not, it says, you know, which is not a third, I know we touched on that,
Yeah,
but the
my
idea
mistake.
of such a large amount for something that's gonna finish in the red by
It
what?
won't finish in the red. I mean, we just had we had an annual fund drive at the end of the year, and then Derek, it didn't really get us quite.
I'm getting confused, I thought he was the,
Ron's on the board.
yeah.
I'm
no.
on the board, I'm
But he's been
sorry.
around a
Well, we
long
I'm
time.
discussed
sort
the
of, I should
Historical
probably
Society,
walk
I was
around
sat
and
down
sit
there.
over there.
Can I address your concerns? And multiple hats, I'm sorry. You were at the skate park event
Yeah,
where I raised like maybe a couple $1,000, if I'm remembering correctly.
yeah, that went great.
That's where we're at. I know how to hustle. We're just presenting a picture of where we're at. And honestly, any concerns that you have, I do understand, but we are not gonna finish in the red. Not gonna allow that to happen. We're gonna figure it out. And then again, back to the 1/3, again, that was our funding goal. I should have used that correctly.
So then,
My concern is just where we landed with the chamber last round. I don't wanna be pumping money into something that looks like it's gonna fail. And from what's on paper in front of us, that's why I'm asking these
Yeah.
questions.
Well, again, I think that the key thing I want to mention here is that COVID hit us hard. Literally, just people aren't coming to the events as much as they used to. I don't see us failing over the $1,200. I was part of a board match fundraiser that we did over just Facebook, earned $2,000 in a week, 2 weeks.
Right.
So
The board put
again,
up the 1,000.
yeah, so we have the energy, we have the spirit, and I'm sorry that maybe does present us in that way, clearly in the red, but this is all very, conservative estimates for the in and the out on the programs. At this point, I'm trying to leverage more and more out of what we do. For example, Bridge the Gap, I have at $500 right now. At this point, I'm gonna be talking to you guys later about a festival around Bridge the Gap. That's one of the first times that we've done that. We've had this giant event with 300 to 500 people, as you very well know. You were
Yes.
on public safety, you dealt with it. We didn't get a lot of money coming into that often in some years, and this year we're gonna try to get that number up. So, again, those were just conservative estimates on profit from the events, and I didn't really feel right inflating those unless I had like the proof that it was gonna be up. I hope I'm making sense.
Yeah, I hear you. And my other question was, you had 25,000 in payroll. How many people do you employ?
Just me part-time.
Okay. Okay.
That includes, the employment costs too. I mean, there's Social Security and Medicare and
Nonprofits, pay all that.
insurance and, you gotta do all of that.
Joe, you had a
so,
question?
Your total revenue is an estimation.
The whole revenue, yeah.
It's an
That's
estimation.
my
If you
favorite.
don't
It's just the way.
achieve that, what gets
It's
cut
just
first?
the way.
Does the payroll get
The other
cut,
stuff
or
would be in
does the
should
program
be in a
get
separate
cut?
That's not up to me. That's gonna end up being up to the board if it came to a payroll situation. But ultimately,
That's the hard
I would
part
think
is
that,
Main Street
we're not gonna get
program.
to that point.
They
I
will
really
tell
feel
you
as
from
though
the
we're
beginning
gonna
unless you
proceed
get
forward
an
and
ED
leverage
that's
more
done
out of the
from
program,
Historical Society or
profit
something
that
like
I've
that. You just
mentioned
keep
here.
in a small
As I said
town.
earlier, I was just
There's
really
gotta be a
trying to
driving
conservatively
force,
put
and it
fair
was-
numbers in there, and
I mean, it was very
based off of what we did the
solid.
prior year.
There.
But ultimately, I see us moving forward, getting more sponsorship, and just really boosting our events.
So
And
basically, our $20,000, no matter what, is paying for your salary.
sorry, what's that?
The $20,000 is basically paying for your salary. It's just a question.
I mean, the numbers are there, and yes, and the funds go where they need to go, and if
I
we
think
make
we did this
decisions
last
like
year,
that.
And we've been down this road
Yeah, we've been down
with
that road.
nonprofits because if they don't have a director, the ability to get grants
Oh,
diminishes greatly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the support from the town, just to let you know, like you touched on it, Ron. We're involved with Maine Development Foundation as one of their downtown center communities, with Main Street America as one of their affiliates, and that's great. But for people that are giving us grants to see that we are supported by our town fiscally, that is a huge boost to us, and helps us obtain more of those dollars. Ultimately, like you just said, Mark, it'd be great if volunteers popped out of the woodwork and could do all this, but they're not yet. So that's where we're at with those numbers, and I'm just looking forward to, no matter what the outcome is here, just going through the events that we're doing, and we're really just trying to just, as you can see, get people onto Main Street. Can you actually go down to the next page for me? I guess just so I can not get the numbers wrong. Small Business Saturday, I did a raffle with, I don't have the count, 30 Bucksport businesses. They donated over $1,500 in goods from them, the businesses, like a gift card, or Lighthouse Gallery had some artistic cards that she was selling. All those businesses donated those, and ultimately the only buy-in for the community, it wasn't like $5 for 10 tickets. It was go to a shop, buy something, engage with that business, and you get a ticket. So we had over 600 entries earned by shoppers. That's 600 engagement with business owners, just in the span of less than a month around the holidays. And on Small Business Saturday, I actually was in Pet Provisions, and I said I wasn't gonna publicly say who this was. I just messed up. I was in a business, and that business owner ran the numbers and literally said, not only was it the busiest day of my year, but of my existence in Bucksport.
That's good.
So ultimately, we are taking that angle now of trying to support the businesses, as we always have, but just a little bit more focus on things like that. And then underneath that, you have the S'more Lounge. That was dreamed up in a month. It was fire pits and s'mores and hot chocolate down on the waterfront during the fireworks.
Christmas lights.
Christmas lights, thank you. And I'd say that's just kind of the energy that we're trying to bring. We're trying to check off as many boxes, help as many people as we can, but ultimately just with the goal of bringing the community downtown and just supporting businesses and
I have a
the
question.
growth. Yes.
You're on a roll. First, I appreciate what you're doing and the energy you bring, because in the past, I didn't see the energy that you're bringing to the organization, which I think is wonderful. Two, you made another statement. You were replacing old folks like Ron. Okay.
Oh, I made that.
I didn't
statement.
say that. I didn't say that.
So the new board that you're building, okay, primarily of local business people, or?
As much as we can when it makes sense, because as we know, when you look on Main Street, a lot of the business owners are already just taxed.
Yep.
They're working. So yeah, we are currently looking at recruiting more board members, and that is a primary objective, is to pull from the people that are, affected by what we're doing. And
Well, we
give
have
us
a
that
makeup.
input. What's that?
We have a makeup of
We
the
have a
board,
makeup, yeah.
which means that 4 of this, 1 of that, 2 of this, the ideal makeup would be,
Yeah.
A cross-section of
Mhm.
business owners, residents,
Yep.
other people that have, most boards, that's the way they're.
Yeah, exactly.
Provided this goes to council, would you be willing to meet with your board and just reassess these numbers to just shed a more positive
Yeah,
financial?
100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and yeah, I mean, without a question, if that's appropriate and allowed to do a revision, yes.
I mean, there are
Oh, yeah.
grants pending, but you can't
This
really
is
put
just
them in
going
there.
through our part. We don't approve the money.
To touch on what you're saying, though, by no means, no matter the age, everyone has value. I can say, though, that I'm meeting so many young people at Main Street Bucksport events that have moved to town. We're having the Welcome Home event. I don't know if you guys have heard about that. March 29th, just welcoming newcomers to meet with people that have lived here for ages, or for me, 6 years. You know, whatever your story is, to meet at the Alamo and socialize. And those are super important connections that I'm making with community members that have the energy and want to see the town they move to just grow into more. So, yeah, you know, none of it's based on age. For me, it's more energy and the desire to see growth in the town.
So I want to leave you with an example of the difference a Derek makes. So the film festival had a partner before COVID, this World Ocean
Yes.
Observatory.
World Ocean Observatory.
Okay, and they were great, but COVID came along. We thought we were going to have it, and then couldn't have it. Things were shut down. Then the Alamo shut down. Then it was going to open, and it didn't open. But we finally got it pulled off again, and that had as much momentum as anything that I'd seen. It was growing like this for people that came. Originally, it was 2 weekends, but we said, all right, we got to get it going again. It's a heritage thing for Main Street Bucksport. So Derek's running around trying to get sponsors for something that had sort of fallen off the cliff as so many things. He goes to Gagan Brothers in Bangor, and they said, yeah, we'd really like to be a part of this. It's an international maritime film festival. So he said, well, we won't give you money, but we'll give you a whole lot of Captain Molly Cool beer. I don't know if you've ever had that one that they have. Well, Captain Molly Cool was from Bucksport, and she was the first female ship captain on the East Coast of the United States. And pretty appropriate for a maritime film festival. So then he says, well, I'm going to get a film and show it at the Alamo Thursday night before the film festival. I'm thinking like, nobody's going to come to that. But I went,
Now he said
and it was for $5, and it served Molly Cool beer, and there was this crop of young people. Where did they come from? It wasn't full, but it wasn't far from it. And the enthusiasm at that event compared to, I probably shouldn't say this because I'm on the board of Northeast Historic Film, the average age of what normally goes to the movies at the Alamo got cut about in, well, probably more than half. And it was really nice to see. So I think what's happening, and I can tell you from my time in Augusta across the state, people are coming to Maine, and it's not going to stop. And I think the future for Bucksport looks pretty bright, you know, in a lot of places. There's some serious problems like housing and other things, but growth is good.
So you don't think we're putting $20,000 into a sinking ship?
I don't. I would tell you it's for a couple of years it was definitely all hands bailing out the water, but I think the holes are patched and it's on solid footing, and I think that there's more good things to come.
Derek's got his hands full.
He does, and it's hard for a part-time executive director because the pressure is always on, do this, do this, do this. And there's only so many hours in a part-time day. So, and the other thing that was the hardest, the volunteer corps that Main Street had, you know, as everything else in COVID disappeared. So you're building that from the bottom up.
And also, we're not looking to make a profit, as you know, as a nonprofit. In reflection, your concerns are very valid. I should have presented it differently, but again, I just didn't want to, I wanted to be conservative with the numbers that I was putting down, knowing that I was going to be working really hard to get that up. And we are applying for grants. We're looking at projects to take on, and I think we're headed in a really good direction with a lot of energy getting pumped into the organization, and some of that energy is maybe going to end up being on our board, and some of the energy is just the folks coming and saying, how can I help? How can I volunteer? I'm looking forward to this year, next year, however long, and I am excited to just keep bringing this stuff back. We have a lot of really, really good events that we've done for years that the town knows and expects, and if anything, I just want them all to come back, and I want them to be more accessible and open to everybody, and also collaboration is key for nonprofits, working with a lot of the organizations around town to partner up and give them a platform as well. Business focus, again, trying to get people on Main Street, and there's a lot of other ideas floating around. I'm just looking to continue the impact that we've made already and just keep it going, keep the energy alive.
Thanks, Derek.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
Yes.
Jim?
You have said more than once that these numbers can be changed. I guess probably shouldn't they have been the honest bottom line numbers to start with? I mean,
those were the honest bottom line numbers in the sense that I was looking
Okay.
at what we've done previously.
okay.
And all I'm trying to express, Jim, is that I have the goal to get those numbers up. I didn't feel that it was honest to say, I'm making this up, we made $2 at the film festival, but I'm gonna make it $4 this year. I didn't really know
You know, I wasn't
how to comfortably do that,
suspecting that. I just,
of course.
you've said more than once in this conversation that those numbers can be changed.
Mhm. Well, yeah, I hope I'm I hope I'm understood and that,
It's a budget, which is.
yeah, it's a projected
Looking
budget.
ahead. I'm sure Jim's budgets don't always come out exactly right.
Not perfect.
Can I, from public comment?
Yep, go ahead, Dean.
From being.
I'll have you come up to me.
From being a nonprofit, what he has to deal with, right now, we're 30 years in, and I can write my budget, cause I can expect 100,000 guests are gonna come through. He has no idea how many are gonna come to any of his events. When I have an event happening over there, we make $2.50 on each head that comes through that gate. So I can say, okay, medieval fair, that's gonna generate 100 people, and that gives me a hard case number. What I would recommend for you, because what he did was he tried to lowball it to be safe, what I would recommend is if you saw that you're paying his paycheck $20,000, which I also get paid over there, if that's the way you wanna look at this, or you look at it, he's holding 5 or 6 events to include Bridge the Gap. Bridge the Gap generates how much money for Bucksport? I saw 700 people come to that race. No, those were runners. They all have support staff. That's 1,400 people, because somebody came with that person. They also came over the fort. We benefited from that. So I'm gonna tell you, we do that every year, by the way, as well, try to support Bridge the Gap race. But what I wanna tell you is, if you look at it from your investment is $20,000, does the events that Main Street Bucksport hold get Bucksport back $20,000 worth of economic development, what this board stands for? And if you can look somebody in the eye and say, yeah, it's gonna cost $20,000, but you're gonna get, I don't know how many events, starting with Bridge the Gap. I'm sorry, I didn't look at all of those. And that one's $500, that's another 500, or 5,000, and you get up to $20,000, then your investment was worthwhile. That's the way I was gonna do it from a
Thanks.
business
Yeah.
point of view.
Thanks.
Very good.
Any other comments or questions? What's the pleasure of the committee?
Make a motion that we accept the $20,000.
Or make a recommendation?
Make a recommendation. Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Okay. The next item are event requests. Run Main Pro Athletics Bridge the Gap on May 6th, 2023. Are you presenting that? Nancy?
Yeah, Gary Allen couldn't be here. So you have the information in your folder. May 6th is the date. Race starts at 10 o'clock, starts at the fort, like Dean pointed out. It ends on Main Street, Bucksport. And I will say that Derek and the Main Street Board did come up with, from last year's conversation from this board, they'd like to see more of an impact with Bridge the Gap in town and keep people here. And the next event that's listed underneath that, I think, accomplishes what this committee asked of them.
So you just need a recommendation on the Crow Athletics.
Yes, that, they are a nonprofit.
Yep. Okay. Pleasure of the committee on the Bridge the Gap.
Support that.
Okay, got a motion from Jim, a recommendation from Jim,
Second.
second from Steve. All in favor? Opposed? And last, item 3,
No,
The-
you're gonna wanna do the,
oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Main
this
Street
is the
Bucks
Main Street
Bridge the
Bucksport
Gap
event,
Finish
yeah.
Line
Do you
Festival.
have the slide
I
that
do.
included like the aerial view? Cause if not, not a big deal.
That was in there, Rich.
I
It's-
may not
it's in the
have given
presentation.
aerial
Okay,
view there.
cool.
already in here.
Alright. No worries, and because this is just the town funding, right? It's not everything, or, oh, it is.
That's Bridge the Gap, this is
There's
the,
me.
yeah.
Okay, so the next page, maybe, or the page after, the next one, maybe. Yes,
There we go. All right.
Okay.
Page 40.
So I'm standing up because there's been some changes to my plans. I was holding on until today when I had to make the decision. As I mentioned in my plans, one of my goals was to do work with some local breweries and do a beer garden or a beer tent. Not happening this year. Just a lot of complications with licensing and such. Just don't want to get into that this year. And Larry, I apologize if I assumed this was public. That might be your property, I'm realizing now, that parking lot behind your building. But my plan at this point is to not ask for permission, but to ask that Elm Street be closed and that we are allowed to use the public parking lot behind the Alamo. And really the only change again is I'm not gonna be doing a beer garden. And the hope is from the feedback that we've received in previous years from the Friars, from McLeod's, from any restaurant that's been open, is that there are just far too many people for them to serve. Like, they're turning people away left and right. And in speaking with Gary Allen, with Crow Athletics again, that's something that he said, like, we don't want that. We don't want people to just jump in their car and leave town. That's terrible. So what can we do to tackle that? The Finish Line Festival is our goal to keep people here. So those restaurants can maybe get a second or even third round of people in. The businesses will just have more of a chance with people being in town more often. So ultimately, we're trying to get some food trucks in, just again, because the restaurants can't compete and, or not can't compete, can't contain the crowd. And our hope there is to just provide some nourishment for the runners and also provide some live music. And also, I'm going to be working with some area nonprofits to try to get them to come and table at the events, maybe host some activities, much like Ghostport did. And I'm really hoping that the road closure can happen, just because we don't want to close down Main Street. That would be huge. And up here, Brown Hall is going to be the registration center for all of the racers. So that street is going to be busy all day anyways. And so to me, it just seemed like the perfect fit if I was going to ask for anywhere to be shut down to make it Elm Street, where there's already going to be
So
a
you
huge
wanna
amount of
close it
activity.
from Elm Street to Franklin?
Yes, we're
Yeah.
looking to close it that far, just again, so there's no confusion or anything. I've spoken with multiple neighbors affected and haven't had any major objections at all.
It's not from Elm Street to Franklin, you're closing it, Elm Street from Main Street to Franklin.
Oh, sorry, yes, sorry, from Main Street to Franklin,
Right.
yeah, that lower part of Elm.
Right, but Elm, all that whole thing.
Yep.
Now, you got it in gold, so behind the Alamo,
Mhm.
you wanna clear out who's there at that time, or?
Yeah, that public parking lot we'd like to use. I investigated which area for parking would be best, because we need the parking. And ultimately, the parking lot behind Brown Hall and the Congregational Church is gonna be heavily used. And that parking lot, the Bangor Savings Bank, I believe, is also gonna be used for parking. And if I can remember correctly, I think I counted maybe like a dozen spots there,
And
so.
how long will that take place?
The festival itself
No,
or
no,
the closure?
The street closure.
The street closure, I am proposing, I can't remember off the top of my head, let's see, 8 AM to 4 AM. Again, registration starts early in the morning.
8 AM to?
4 p.m.
Oh, sorry, 4 PM, I apologize. And that's because registration is starting super early in the morning, and there's gonna be all that foot traffic. And then allowing us, if we're in the gold or orange, the ability to start setting up in the morning.
How does that affect Verona Wine and Design at that time of year?
Verona Wine and Design,
Because
I
usually they
don't.
park right behind.
Yeah, no, and as I mentioned, that's Larry's lot, which I
Right,
thought that was
right.
public too, and I'm not gonna, that's one of the changes, let's pretend that's
Well,
not there.
I'm just asking the question because, you know, I know you wanna keep the businesses happy, so
Yeah.
I'm looking at that, and I'm just saying, okay, how are
Yeah.
they gonna get to it or whatever?
Yeah, well, I mean, if I can be honest with you, these folks are running,
Well, you
right?
gotta be honest.
They're running, right?
Yeah.
They're running, so, you know, I think they're gonna be comfortable hitting up those businesses, and, again, the businesses are turning people away, they're getting in their car, they're going to Mason's and Brewer for a beer instead of staying for a beer at Friars. We just wanna keep them here, and, this is my idea to accomplish that and to have some fun while we're doing it.
What are your thoughts, Larry?
About closing the street?
Yeah, about that whole area?
Well, I was thinking that there might be a problem for employees of, like, the dairy port,
Yeah.
who use my parking spot.
Well, that's why I was
Parking lot.
bringing it up, yeah.
But I'm thinking that probably we can work around that.
Mhm.
You'll have them park up in the church parking lot.
Yeah.
If it's not full.
You know,
Hopefully it'll be full.
we can make
Yeah.
special accommodations and stuff, whatever you folks think, I'm willing to.
This is
to
a
do
Saturday
work.
also.
What's that?
This is a Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
You have more
Saturday.
parking as you go up Elm Street. You've got the RSU office lot.
Yes.
We're not there, then you also have Ian Playground's lot. above
Playground,
that.
that's a huge lot, yeah, I didn't even think about that,
So
actually.
you got a lot of overthrow flow parking
Yeah.
available right there.
Yeah, and again, I chose this because I felt it was probably minimal impact. Again, I wanted to come in and say, let's close Main Street. But that's not smart. Even if this is not approved based on that condition, if there's any room for conditional approval but move it somewhere else, I'll try my best to find a place. But I did my homework and feel like it's probably gonna be the least amount of impact for hopefully a lot of return.
Well, you'll be dealing with public safety anyway.
Exactly, yeah. And I actually didn't see any of their approvals or anything. I don't know if you folks did, if they emailed or anything, so I'm not sure what their input was on this, but I did have a conversation with Chief Gagan before I even submitted this and just floated it, even with the beer idea. I don't wanna speak for him, but he didn't tell me I was crazy, so.
Not yet.
So I feel like that may have been some sort of thumbs up maybe, or at least go for it.
Derek, what are the hours of the race this year?
The hours of the race, again, it's 10 o'clock, starts at 10. So you have the 3 miler, which I believe is typically a 45-minute average run. So that gets people onto Main Street at 10:45. And the 10 miler is all over the place, much longer, of course. So ultimately, we hope to have the festival from 11 to 3 to, get the different racers at different capacities to still come and stay.
Have you talked to, like McLeod's and Warren's and
I haven't had a chance to speak to
Okay.
McLeod's
I will.
yet, but again, the
Friars and?
Friars I spoke to specifically, yeah, and Brother Don, I ended up talking to him about it and just said, hey, I want to let you know I'm doing this, and that was when I was still working the beer angle. I was gonna ask about some beer, and he immediately said no to the beer because they're small capacity in their brewery. But he said, yeah, we turn people away. It's our busiest day. So anything you can do to keep people. Cool.
Just a little insight, we have shut Elm Street down for Bay Festivals in year past for the street dance. So the only hiccup sometimes is we have to do it in front of the funeral home because they need to be able to get in and out. So we usually shut off until the parking lot on Elm Street side to the Elm Street Congregational Church, but
That makes
that's
sense.
not us, that's a public safety thing, and I think maybe if you just talk to Al,
Yeah.
he'll let you know.
And
Okay.
there's also the parking lot on Franklin that is across from the church, that could be opened up and used there also, if you want to use parking, if you need overflow parking.
Oh, yeah, no,
If
exactly.
you
A
need
lot
for,
of,
like storage or anything of that.
Yeah, luckily we're not short on parking, so. Well, thank you guys for hearing me.
All right.
And again, that was just a last minute change, because as much as I wanna work with some local breweries and have that aspect, it's just not gonna happen this year. There's a little too much, so we're gonna keep it simple and, you know, hopefully keep some people around. So, thank you so
Derek.
much.
What's the pleasure of the committee?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Okay. Next item is Bucksport Bay Business Coalition Hot August Nights Parade and Car Show for 8/19/23. Hey, Terry.
So I want to do a Bucksport Parade and Custom Car Show, Hot August Nights, August 19th. The parade will take the same route as the Christmas light parade. So I've already talked to Denning and Winchester, so they know they're all okay with it. It's gonna start off the same place, Whole Ocean's parking lot, already got the approval from them. Gonna have possibly Miss and Junior Miss Spark Plug pageant, remote control competition through King's RC Place in, what was it, Brewer? Live music, food trucks, that sort of thing.
Any
That's
questions?
about it.
How long is it gonna last?
1 to 6.
1 to 6.
Do you have any idea the number of cars you might attract?
Probably a lot. It's
Yeah.
gonna be trucks, cars, and bikes, motorcycles.
Right.
Nice.
I'll be in all the categories.
Yeah.
Motion to approve.
You gotta abstain.
You got a
Okay,
winner?
fine.
Any other questions?
Just a couple, you have a nice event here that's planned, okay? And it's just the car show and all, but people would get a chance to look at these cars at another place? Or-
Yes, at the Whole Ocean, so it's gonna start off at the parking lot, take the same route as the Christmas parade. All the cars, trucks and bikes are gonna end up there, they're gonna be lined up, there's gonna be a judging competition, so there's gonna be a first, second, third for each category.
Yeah,
So they'll be awarded a trophy or whatever.
and you said like food trucks and stuff? or-
Yes.
And they'll be up there as well?
Correct.
Okay, so what keeps people down at the town level here, Main Street, anything? No.
Anything.
Okay.
The parade, for
The
sure.
parade, that's, yeah, the parade is
Yeah, and
bad.
then they go and, I mean, they can
Yes.
go and walk back to the Whole Ocean's parking lot and stuff. so.
It's something happening in Bucksport, though.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Only
In the
because it's
summertime.
cars, you
Yeah.
like it.
Hey, I am biased as I can be, I guess.
Everybody likes car show and parade.
Absolutely,
so.
everybody. Great idea.
Yeah.
Good idea.
If there's no other questions, what's the,
Motion to approve?
okay, second from Jim? All in favor?
Right on, thank you.
Okay, item C, town-owned land for possible development. I've been discussing with Rich because we've gone around for a number of years on 27 Main looking for space to fit housing. And I came across this one on Donovan and just wanted to bring it up. It may not be for this year, but to keep it part of a discussion. There's about 3 to 4 acres there that doesn't touch the trail system.
Yeah, so I have it up. This is the GIS on the town's website. Anybody can find this out. So Donovan Road is a private road that extends off of Racecourse Road. So here's your central street, come down Racecourse Road. This is Racecourse Road. In terms of deeds, you would find it as Racecourse Road Extension. This outline here, if you go into GIS, and I'm sorry, there's a wicked glare on this TV, but this thing right here allows me to click, and I click trails. So that's what you see here. This is the Miles Lane Trails. It's called Donovan Road, but this parcel of property comes off of Miles Lane, so you would drive up from, I believe this is the Bucksport Middle School right here.
Yep.
R225 owns that right there, and then the town owns the rest. So it's part, or was part of the Buck Estates subdivision that Forest Hills, Woodland Heights, Racecourse Road, Spruce, all that. And, this was the leftover piece that was carved out from the middle school, and
Is that just that piece that's highlighted in red on
it's,
the, on the side?
yes, it's,
Okay.
the whole thing in yellow is the town's property.
Gotcha.
That goes to 002-063.
Okay.
This is your walking trails. I know your outdoor classroom is over here, somewhere in this vicinity.
Yep.
And then this lot right here, this, dotted line that you see on both sides that's in gray, that's a private road. You can find any private roads that are like this. Any road that the town owns are fully shaded in. Racecourse Road, Woodland Heights.
We did give up that road about a decade ago.
Oh,
We
okay.
gave up Donovan Road, is that?
Yeah, we did, it was a
So we owned
discontinued,
it, okay, so it's a discontinued road.
Yep.
Okay.
but it was just brought up as a possibility somewhere down the future because we need more housing. And we've tried to fit things onto 27 Main, and we have something positive now, but we just haven't been able to get the amount of units.
How many homes would you see on there, Mark?
Well, I mean, for instance, we did an RFP, and I'm not saying we need massive amounts, but we did an RFP for 27 Main, and what was it, 4?
For residentials, this is,
And this is a lot bigger, I mean, that's,
this is a lot bigger, but I'm not sure the covenants from the, subdivision, if it's still in place. If it's still in place, it's 1 acre lots. So you would get 4, potentially 4, maybe 3. Because it's not quite 4 unless you move this boundary a little bit closer to the walking trails.
Where'd you say the outdoor classroom was?
I may have misspoke, is this the Church of God right there?
I think that would be, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so this is the Church of God. You come around here, this gets you
Yes.
out, so this right here, I misspoke, I apologize.
Oh, okay, it's
This
further
right here
down.
is the outdoor classroom, it's
Okay.
the, bog,
The vernal pool.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you,
Yes.
yes, the vernal pool's right there.
Right.
This walking trail comes right up to the area here. We haven't done any, I just walked it this weekend, it's of course all covered in snow, so I can't tell you if this parcel, it's potentially wetlands, it's obviously wooded. It's got road access, but I think we'd need to do some further investigation into
That could be.
Buck Estates, but this was a parcel of land, and Mark, there was a citizen who actually came and approached Luke as well about, an abutting neighbor who approached Luke about this, if the town would be willing to parcel off a portion, and thinking they may want to be accessing their property from there, is potential.
And that other piece, I mean, all the way over towards me, that's almost landlocked if we own that. If the town of Bucksport owns what's in yellow.
Be a long way around.
Yeah, that's that's interesting. Huh. So there's no,
This is dirt road, which gives you access to the Church of God.
oh, actually, if you go back up to towards the race course road, there's a narrow strip between 02279 and 76. I wonder if that's there's like a pump house or something in that.
Oh, that's a cellular
there is.
or cable.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
That's what that
Okay,
is.
I wonder if that's in
Electrical.
that strip.
That is,
Okay, so that's not an access point there.
No.
either. Okay.
the only access is off of Donovan Road.
Trying to figure out what
There's no
houses we can
water.
squeeze in there.
No water, sewer ends, we can figure out.
Sewer
the
ends
end
on
of
race course,
Yeah.
about 600 feet.
Yeah, they got the church there over on the side.
Church right there.
That was all, I just wanted to bring it up because we have been talking about 27 Main for quite a while.
How far is Route 46 if you went across? Could you hit it?
Yeah.
If we'd kept the roadway, you would get
Yeah,
there,
you
you'd
could
get
go
to
around
where
to
the
which one?
turnaround is,
Which would really,
but it's no longer a road.
So this is Heritage Park, this is where the industrial park is. Johnny Wardwell's land right here, which could be expansion of the industrial park phase 3, that's how it's listed. Then you got one, this lot I believe just sold to this person, and then this, I believe is the
Stubbs.
lot that they've been trying to sell to the town as well. And I believe this person's also trying to get this lot, which is potentially why he came in to see Luke to get this lot. So that way he can make it all the way across. And then if you get this, you pretty much have a road that connects,
yeah, that'd be great. That would really alleviate all
but
the
there's a lot
traffic.
of what ifs.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a lot of ways.
Mr. Denning, you have a lot of knowledge of this area. Do you have any comment?
You wanna come up, Mike? Can you-
Sure.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So, I saw this on the agenda, Donovan Road, so it kind of piqued my interest. Rich, and I had a few conversations on it. I'm here as a citizen, a taxpayer. I live on Donovan Road, and I've lived there since 1994. Part of my house is Buck Estates. So, personally, I am all for development, as long as it's done properly. The road, I can tell you, on Donovan Road is a dirt road, and it's maintained by the homeowners. There's 7 or 8 houses on that utilize Donovan Road. The racecourse road is very narrow. If you meet a truck and you're in the other vehicle coming, you literally have to go in the ditch. The sewer, over the years, and the sewer company can talk about it, has plugged up because of the lay of the land. And so you're gonna be talking a lot of money for infrastructure, for pump stations. There's no water on the racecourse road, so you either have to come back down where the schools are, which is not the greatest water pressure, static water pressure, or up to the standpipe, and that is gonna be
On Woodland, is it?
on Woodland Heights. Well, I've got it highlighted. Let me give this to you, Rich.
There's enough
It's
land
gonna
in
be
there that could be
standby.
broken up into 4 different.
Now,
You could drill wells.
so, the standpipe, when they put that in, is, I call it a low-profile standpipe. Whether they could put height on it or not, I think, in my profession, if you're talking multi-unit places, they're gonna have to be sprinklered. More expense to up the pressure to get on second stories and whatnot for that, so. Again, I think my wife and I were not opposed. We talk about having Bucksport expand. I think good things are happening. I think better things are gonna come down the road. It just, to me, that area, you know, when Buck Estates sold the lots, they were for single-family houses, not multi-unit places. I would really hate to have, and I can only speak for myself, looking out our windows, looking at, you know, multi-unit places, which I'm sure they'll be nice, but you get noise, you get traffic, and I just think there's better places for it. It's quiet up there, we have nice walking trails and woods, so I just ask, you know, maybe reconsider something else for it, maybe single-family homes for housing, single-family houses instead of multi-unit. Also, when the town incorporated, if my memory serves me correct, when they did the walking trails, they wanted to preserve that land for, you know, as is, for walking and enjoying the outdoors. So, it's quiet up there, and I think when this is all said and done, if it goes in, you're gonna change the whole makeup of that area. And I'm not for it. I think we should keep it for future use. We don't know down the road with the schools, what's gonna happen. They may need a new school built somewhere up in there, and eating this all off.
None of my
I
watch.
don't.
Nice.
No, I mean,
But you're right, down the road. it's-
30, 40, 50 years down the road,
don't
you
know
might
what.
need another school, and the Jewett School might be turned into something different. Who knows? Superintendent's office might be up in there.
There's also more land for sale beside that still,
There
right?
is.
Isn't
That's
it?
Billy Stubbs'
The
property.
problem is,
Yeah.
walking around this time of year, you really can't get the lay of the land. Come up in the spring when the snow's gone, then I'll talk to you. It is wet. It's a swamp. That's all it is up there.
This right here where my arrow is, that's where the standpipe is on Woodland Heights.
Yep.
That full box.
Yep.
So, it is a jaunt over there.
It is. I mean, how, I don't know. It's an awful lot of money to run lines. You're probably talking a lot.
So individual housing, single-family homes with their own well and septic,
Yeah.
that could be supported.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, anyway, thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Good luck.
All right,
Question on that?
yeah.
When you say town-owned land for possible development, you're saying to be developed by the town as opposed to selling it to someone who wants to put it and they're going to develop. There's two different things there.
Yeah, no, towns make horrible developers. There's lots of rules and regulations, and it takes lots of time. So that would be to subdivide it, parcel it off.
And put it in a position where somebody wants to buy it too, so we're doing part of it.
Correct, yeah, this is just an introductory, it could, the buck could stop here, it could get forward to infrastructure. There's a lot that go behind these, but in order to introduce it, it has to start somewhere. So since there's been more than one request, they
And
ended up on this agenda.
And before we go any further, maybe we follow Mike's advice and go up there once the winter breaks and see what's going on.
I go to the Bucksport Church of God, I pay them a visit, so I know where it is.
Okay. Item 4 would be RSU revolving loan update.
Yeah, Rich and I spoke, he asked me to provide you an update. Through the revolving renovation fund, through the state of Maine DOE, we were awarded 3 projects. The nice part about these projects, it's a zero interest loan, and they forgive, for us, will be 58.24% of the loan. Okay, so the 3 project total comes to $2.9 million. Of that, $1.7 million would be forgiven, with a payback of $1.2 million over the course of 10 years. So that's, what that would do is projects for the exterior of the middle school. That's about a $1.4 million project. $1 million will come from that loan. The other $400 million, we're gonna go to the voters to seek to support, to expend capital reserve money for that. The other 2 projects, one on Miles Lane and the other one for the high school, are heating, ventilation, system upgrades. We have to get the schools up to the new ASHA regs. Those projects also would be paid for underneath this. Miles Lane, $977,000, BHS, $964,000. But thought I'd share that with you. It's tremendous blessing for that kind of money to be shared through the state. We use the same project to help fund the Bucksport High School renovation that took place, believe it or not, 10 years ago. Seems like just yesterday, but it happened very quickly. But just want to bring people up to speed on that. That, of course, will go through the board, it'll go to the voters' public hearing, and then ultimately their vote to accept that. But great projects, great news for the school community and the 4 communities in the district. Also, just economic development. One of the things we've talked about in the past here is encouraging more activities using the school's foundation and the recreation. A lot's been happening. It's nice to see through the YMCA, the recreation program. They've run some basketball tournaments, brought a large number of people into the community over the course of the day. Wrestling was just packed. They had over 280 elementary wrestlers, and the entourage that followed them came into town for a day, as far away as Vermont, one of the wrestlers came from. But people came to the community here, and so we're trying to encourage that type of activity. People come to the district over the weekend, come into the town, they're gonna buy gas, they're gonna stop at the restaurants, hopefully they're gonna stay in hotels if available. So that's just another way through recreation to enhance economic development.
And to piggyback on that, the YMCA announced 3 summer tournaments.
Yep.
Girls basketball tournament be in July on the 14th through the 16th. A boys basketball tournament the 21st through the 23rd, and a soccer tournament the 28th through the 30th
Of July.
of July.
So take advantage of the resources we have in buildings and fields, leverage those for good activities, and nice spin-off.
Sounds good. Thanks, Jim. Item 5, discussion items not on the agenda for the committee and the public. We can start with the public. Any?
It just, this sparked, when we're talking about events and the parade and stuff, there, the Civil War guys, I probably have about 100 Civil War guys coming this year. There's 3rd Maine, 6th Maine, and 20th Maine, they always come, 15th Alabama, 35th Virginia, all these people, and now the Liberty Grays, so we've got quite a bit of, we almost have as many Confederates as we have Union soldiers doing reenactments on the 22nd, on the 21st, 22nd, 23rd. They want to march in the parade. They want to watch the fireworks. That's another one of those things. But they want to march in the parade. And I'm not sure that we are going to be able to pull that off this year. What they said they would do is, and I also have some bagpipers. So we used to do tattoo. That's kind of fallen to the wayside. They charge $1,000 for a show now. We have some bagpipers that are coming then. And they want to set up in the Wilson Hall Tower during the fireworks and do a bagpipe across the waters. It's, I don't know what it's all about, but it's kind of supposed to be hauntingly beautiful, and it leads into the fireworks with the last note played. And so these guys, I don't know, I can talk to Rich all the time. I'm just presenting some of this stuff that these guys come up with. They want to walk in the parade over here. If they can't do it, barring that, they'll come over here on this side because we already have enough stuff happening over there that they can also foster interest. But they'd be, they don't have a place to set up. So if we do Bucksport Bay Festival, even if it's just a single bagpiper or some Civil War guys taking photos, both the Union and Confederates, that's just one of the things that I haven't even got on my list. I gotta get a state approved. That happens at the end of this month, and then I'll bring it over to Rich and say, hey, here's our slate of events, and you'll be able to bounce events like yours. I promote all that stuff. Everybody's events we'll put on the cork board. I'll promote it on Facebook, supporting however way Friends of Fort Knox can do that.
All right.
So,
Thanks,
that's
Steve.
all. Thanks.
I'm just waiting for Larry to ring the bell when the bagpipe is playing over there at Wilson Hall.
I can do that.
Would that be a possibility? Because what they're looking for is the highest peak on both sides, being up at Wilson. There'll be matching.
That'd be good.
Yeah, it's a second of delay, but from this side they'll hear the haunting on that side, and then this side.
Neat.
There's also an old photo of Confederate soldiers in front of Wilson Hall.
Oh.
But, maybe if you could recreate that, would be kind of cool.
These guys love that. That's, all right, I'll look into that. Yeah, thanks. I'll talk to you. Thank you.
Anybody else on the committee? Items not on the agenda? Go ahead, John.
May I say something? Okay, I had gone to the Jed Prouty, because I went inside and talked to the manager there, and they don't really do much for the people inside of that, and a lot of them are bedridden or whatever, or they really can't get out. And trying to get some funds, which some group of people to do a concert, get some musical group to do a concert for the inside the building if they can't go out. You know, nothing elaborate. We're talking about one piece, two pieces. And I was wondering if the committee would also like to think about not what I'm doing, but maybe they would want to have a concert for the elderly people within the building. Once a year, cost $150, you know, but it's something just to think about off the wall. That's all.
All right, thanks, Joe. Anyone else? All right, with nothing else, the next meeting would be Monday, April 10th. And the next item would be adjournment. Just looking for a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Good.